Every car movie has involved with hero cars and villain cars. Since the hero cars take most of their prime time with the protagonists, we obviously seen something quite the opposite to the hero side, and it's the villain side with the most evil cars that were made to last. And how did they ended up giving Hollywood the best kind of way that cars can also be villainous just like their villainous drivers. Today we're breaking down every single car movie villain that has existed in Hollywood history. Disney Cars 3, Jackson Storm. This is one of the first Cars movie villains that we ever get to reveal on this list because I do not think that Jackson Storm was quite close to being a villain, but from what he totally is, he seems to be the opposite of Lightning McQueen, a cocky, self absorbed, and yet arrogant race car. He is technically based on the 2022 Ford GT40, which is likely a new model based on the Ford GT sports car that was made by Ford in 2004 all the way to 2005. Next, we have Chick Thunder Hicks, also known as Chick Hicks, is based on a 1985 Buick GNX Grand National, a typical type of V8 muscle car that was built in the 80s used for NASCAR racing. This guy was voiced by none other than Michael Keaton. Obviously, this is the second car villain that we have revealed on the list because I have no other words to say. Chick Hicks is pretty much a dirty driver when it comes to his rivals and likely bashes everyone out of his way due to his number being 86, which is likely a name sake for delete because 86 is likely a number that was used to delete something. Next is the Green Goblin Western Star from Maximum Overdrive. The Green Goblin Western Star is a massive 18-wheeler truck with a Green Goblin face. If you guys don't know who the Green Goblin is, he is basically one of the rivals that Spider-Man used to fight. And guess what? Stephen King first directed this 1986 cult classic, and it basically deals with vehicles and other technological instruments that come alive and attack human beings. And likely one of the main kingpins was the Green Goblin Western Star, which is a huge vehicular demon, which basically is, well, a Western Star 4800 truck with a Green Goblin face. Coming up next is the car. The car in question reveals to be a 1971 Lincoln Continental Mark III, designed and modified by none other than car modification expert George Barris. The vehicle itself is a black demonic muscle car made from the early 1970s. As it was in the name, the film never explicitly explores the fact what type of car it is, but it's believed to be a modified black car that was driven by none other than the devil himself. Not much is pretty much known about this car, but it's likely presumed that this vehicle was likely driving itself, as we never see the driver's face. Next up is the Wheels of Terror Dodge Charger, a heavily modified, beaten out, rusted 1975 Dodge Charger RT 440 Magnum terrorizes an Arizona town and kidnaps a young girl from a school bus driver who's actually the daughter of the school bus driver. This demonic black or sometimes gray muscle car has proven to be one of the scariest and one of the most mysterious beings living on Earth. As it was mentioned before, likely like the car, we don't actually see the driver's face, but it's likely that this car can teleport and likely drive up to 100 miles per hour. But this is likely strange enough because this is the only car to not actually feature the driver's physical face, as we never seen it getting blown up. Next is Professor Z, also known as Professor Zundap Janus, is basically, you guessed it, a professor based on a zoomed up Janus, a likely what known as a bitter jalopy. If you don't know what a bitter jalopy is in slang, it means lemon car, a type of car that is out of production since it was made, and it's likely one of the worst cars that was ever seen. This car's villain was likely a mad scientist because it's unknown whether or not this guy is actually a professor or a scientist, but he is likely a villain in the Cars movie, so I would likely give him to the point that he actually is a villain. Next is Christine, the 58 Plymouth Fury. The 1958 Plymouth Fury is a demonic red 1950s muscle car of the mid 1950s, terrorizing and stalking its victims and brutally killing them piece by piece. This demonic female car is nothing that you would imagine in your life ever. The way how she acts and she moves, it's not because of hatred. It's likely due to the sheer obsession of her owner, Keith Gordon. And likely, all the homicides were linked based on a real haunted car in real life, which elaborates the story of Stephen King's demonic vehicle to come alive to the story. The Mean Machine, in the 2017 reboot of the Wacky Races series. The Wacky Races series has been known to become one of the most obscure looking of all vehicles, and one of the villainous vehicles made by Dick Dastardly is his iconic Wacky Races racer, the Mean Machine. It's a typical vehicle that heavenly looks quite obscure, but it's obviously definitely one of the most villainous looking vehicles that I've ever seen in my life. Next up is Horace, the Hate Bug. The 1997 TV remake movie of The Love Bug featuring Bruce Campbell features a modified black 1968 Volkswagen Beetle named Horace, the Hate Bug. Horace the Hate Bug is opposite of Herbie and is his evil twin. Horace the Hate Bug is equipped with heavily modified body parts, such as the first modification is a tire drill that pops out of the right front hubcap of the car. The second is a grenade blaster that comes out of Horace's rear license plate. And the third was a laser that was hidden in the front of Horace. This modified Volkswagen Beetle has only made one appearance in one Herbie movie and gets destroyed when Horace drives off a dam and blasts into oblivion. Although this is the only villain car that we only see in the Herbie movies and likely only makes one appearance and gets blown up in the end, this could likely be the most evil car that I have seen in any car movie villain series that I have seen. And then there's this car, the Reliant Robin three-wheeled van of the Mr. Bean series. Remember my video about who the Reliant Robin driver might be? Well, he is obviously the villain of the Mr. Bean series, often getting crashed, run off the road, tipped over by Mr. Bean's car. The Reliant Robin is the main villain of the episode Car Wars, where Mr. Bean's Mini Cooper gets destroyed and the Reliant Robin actually gets away with it. This is obviously one of the most darkest Mr. Bean episodes, and yet the Reliant Robin three-wheeled car makes a great villain as for any other villainous car that was actually featured in any other TV media. And then here comes the obvious point. The British taxi of regular show, also known as Hello Governor, is a evil black homicidal British taxi based on the Austin FX4, a London taxi that is possessed by the driver. This demonic taxi kills and runs over people by saying hello governor, then runs them over. But likely, this could obviously be a reference to the Stephen King 1977 film The Car, because in the car, The plot involves an evil black murderous car that runs over and kills people. So this is obviously a knockoff to the whole point of what it is now. And then we got this, another Dodge Charger from the movie Bullet. If you don't know the movie Bullet, two guys were driving around in a black 1968 Dodge Charger RT Magnum, getting pursued by none other than Steve McQueen, named Frank Bullet. This car was obviously destroyed, and it was one of Hollywood's greatest car movie chase scenes, but it's also one of the greatest villain cars to get destroyed, along with Horace the Hatebug, who also got blown up. So this is the second evil black car that was destroyed by the protagonist, but unlike Horace, Horace actually intentionally drives off the dam himself and blows up. However, the Dodge Charger of Bullet was actually a lot more different. The two hitmen are run off the road by Steve McQueen's Ford Mustang and crashes into an establishment and blows up. And then you got this, the 1977 Volkswagen Type 2 minibus of the Libyan terrorists in the movie Back to the Future. If you guys don't know who the Libyans were, the Libyans are basically a people of Libya who were likely at the time causing terrorist activity. In the 1985 movie Back to the Future, the Libyans ended up crashing into a photo stand booth, which is actually similar to the Reliant Robin crashing. The Volkswagen bus was colored the exact same way as the Reliant Robin three-wheeled car. However, unlike the Reliant Robin, the Volkswagen bus only makes only one appearance at the end of the film, but also at the beginning of the film. The Volkswagen bus crashes at the climax chase scene when Marty goes back to 1985, and likely this was the only time that we see a Volkswagen crash in a movie, as well as being driven by a villain. So those are the cars that were driven by the villains. I hope you guys enjoy watching this list of every villain car seen on TV media. I hope you guys enjoy watching this video. Make sure that you go, comment, like, and subscribe.